Hello everybody, welcome to it. It is a conversation with Brian. I tell you what a year we have had. And wow, just like that, it's all over. Legends, welcome to the show. How are you doing today? Terere, as always, I see you still have the smile all the way. Santa gave you something, eh?
I'm there.
Hey, Shane, I love the coloring, eh? A bit of yellow and a bit of pink.
Yeah, it's nice. Except it's two different colors. I don't like that, but you know, the new look for youngsters. I'm not a youngster.
Talking about youngsters, I mean, for me, I want to start and talk about the weekend that was. I mean, last weekend we had the Carling Black Label Cup. Players from the Diski team being joined with the teams for players from the Premier Division to form the Carling All-Star team. For me, it's a wonderful initiative for those DDC players. I don't think it's something good for the tried and tested players, but it's good to actually infuse that whole thing. What do you make of the whole game, the way the game went? And besides the result, let's talk about the game in totality.
Well, like you said, the DDC players, I mean, it's an ideal time for them to shine, and for some of them they did, and that's it makes your senior coaches look at it and say, hang on a minute, we could use these players. Yeah. Whether it's going to happen or not, I'm not too sure. But for that perspective, because they are playing a Premier League team, you could gauge exactly where those players and where they are in their development. Yeah. For me, that's a good thing. I just feel it's a game that should be played at the end of the season as a spin-off type thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be stopping the league for one game. And look, the sponsor wants his sponsorship, he wants these full run. Just for that perspective, I just think it disrupts the actual league and the players and everything else where, we already had international breaks, so we've had too many breaks and stop, start. That's the only reason. But for the DDC players, brilliant. I mean, and we saw for the 2 goals, I mean, the 3 goals, I mean, what a pleasure, for those youngsters.
I think for me, there is a lot that I can go through, but it's so hurting when, as Shane is saying, senior coaches watching these kids, do as they did in the Carling All-Star team. I mean, for me, how many players come from the Chiefs DDC?
Yeah.
A team that is struggling. Yeah. They were there. Yeah. And the Preez came from a Chiefs player.
Exactly.
A youngster from Chiefs. What a brilliant player he was. I mean, he got the man of the match. And then it takes me back to say, you even look at the defense. I was watching Fabian's son, Aiden McCarthy. Is he not with Chiefs? He's a good defender. Look at what he was doing there. So for me, it's more of that to say, all these youngsters, and even maybe to go to the senior players, to Preez. Yeah. To Preez had a splendid game. I mean, his combination with the youngster, both of them from Kaizer Chiefs, the team that is struggling. For me, it's really something which Nabi needs to be looking at, because these are the boys that are saying, we're raising our hands because we can go there and compete.
I mean, let's talk about this here, Shane. I mean, if you talk about last year's edition, the goal scorers were both from Chiefs, Mfundo, Vilakazi, and Eshudupriya. Mfundo eventually broke into the senior team. And Coach José Riviero last year spoke highly about Vilakazi, and he also spoke about the young man from Palace Mokoni, who played in this year's one as well as Shabalala. Shabalala for Chiefs, both were promoted. Now, when you look at the problem the Chiefs are having this campaign, and you look at a young star like Naledi Hlongwane, he's only 18, by the way, from Siyabonga. And you look at that young man, look at him, and look at, do you think as a coach, as Coach Nabi, you're saying, I can't score goals to save my life, and I've got players like this. Do you bring him into the team now, or do you say, hey, it's one of those, maybe next year I've got to look at it? Because Nabi's already come out to say he wants to start buying players in January.
Yeah. If you look at it, Brian, and I'll go back to this, we've had these conversations plenty of times. Yeah. Chiefs can't score goals. Simple, over and done with. With the players they got, they're not going to score them goals. Yeah. So why, if you've got a youngster like that, that's a proven goal scorer, he's a goal scorer. And if he can just keep on going, he's going to score goals. So why don't you promote him and play? Yeah. Now you want to go out and look for the most expensive player you want to buy in Africa.
That's the problem.
They're already talking of getting rid of a foreigner because they want to bring another foreigner in. What does that mean? They're going to bring in
A player that probably Nabi would have coached some
would have coached or something. So you see things like that. I mean, for me, I promote him straight away. If he's good enough, he must play. It's like Sundowns. I mean, the youngster that came on and scored 2 goals.
Kekana was something else.
Come on, now do me a favour.
Kekana was something else in the middle of the park.
But that's what I'm saying to you. If he's good enough, he must play. That's the same thing here. You know, he must come through and he must play. So, for me, they've got the option. Use it now. But whether they will or not, I'm not 100% sure.
Let's talk about Zwane. Before you come in, Sherry, you have watched Zwane throughout the season.
Thank you.
Let's talk about him in that team because he played a different role and he looked to be more excited. He looked to have had a free role than he does at Kaizer Chiefs. Is that how he's supposed to be played at Chiefs continuously if they want to get something out of him?
But now my question goes back to the coaches.
Yeah.
If now you've got like a coach that is competing against you, if I'm competing against Shane, and then Shane give me his player that he think it's surplus to minus, like it's a player that he cannot do anything with the player. The player comes to me, and then Shane folds his arms and watches the player that is coached by Jerry, and the player excels. You look at Zwane. I mean, at Chiefs, he's playing more like an anchor, staying at the back, trying to do the build-ups. He's still young. Now with Riviero, he took him up front because there was overs behind him. And what happened to the youngster?
He showed.
You need that beautiful goal that he scored to do it for Chiefs. But where is he played? The position that is being given, I mean, it becomes a problem because that's why now the big question mark is going to stay with Nabi after this game, honestly, because all these youngsters, they've turned the corner. They've turned the corner for Chiefs to say, we want to be there, we want to play, this is how we play. And the most problematic, the problematic thing now is one coach that is coaching Chiefs is going to be looking to another coach that is coaching Pirates that got the players from Chiefs performing better. And what does it say? But what does it say? You see, that's the problem.
What it boils down to, Jerry, is that he's obviously got a problem in that position. So he's using the youngster there in that problematic position. So he's trying to convert him to that position, which is wrong. I mean, if the guy's an attacking player, play him as an attacking player.
But Shane,
you
just
always
to
work
get
around it.
To get on you, I'm not maybe stopping you, bro. If Riviero saw something, Riviero was
in such a short time
watching a Zwane at Chiefs as an anchor. Now he gets him in the all-star team, he plays him in a different position. What does it say
it means coaches really are seeing something different, which is a problem.
Really?
Look, we all as coaches, we all see things differently. Jerry and I, even yourself, we'll go to a game, we'll watch a game, and we'll see a complete different game. And that's just the nature of man, or the way it is. But when you're playing players out of position, like you're saying now, that makes a big difference. Preez, to me, is not a striker. And they've been playing him as a striker. Expecting him to score goals. He's not going to score you 20 goals a season. He's not going to score you 10 goals a season. He'll get the odd goal. He'll cause problems if you're playing wide with the pace and bring in a player and get the crosses in. Then you can play him. When he was at Stellenbosch, he did that. But now they're playing him as a striker, expecting him to score goals. That doesn't work for me. So you've got to play players in their best position. You've got to play them at what suits their style of play. And I'll go back to this. There's one coach that does that tremendously. And you'll know what I'm talking about, Gavin Hunt. You'll never expect a player to play out of position. And you'll never expect a player that can't cross the ball to knocking crosses all the time, because it's not going to happen. So he does that. But our coaches learn. But you've got to say to Nazi, he's new, he's only been there a few months. Is he still learning? Give him the time. That's what I said, and we'll go back to this conversation. I went back months ago. I said, Chiefs made the biggest mistake of not appointing someone when they fired the coach in January of last year. Give him the 6 months, finish the season, get used to the players, and then boom, you start off fresh.
I remember.
Because all what you're doing now is you're doing 6 months again, and now, okay, we'll do it next season. Too late.
Let's talk about the team they played against. I guess he comes into the final under pressure, sitting right at the bottom of the log standings. And they play against this team. Only 2 changes made to the team that is a regular team. Because you saw on the Komape is the one that came in on the right-hand side. Radamia came on the left-hand side. But the rest of the pack is the one that won the Carling knockout. Defeating Pirates and Sundowns and everybody else. But they just look to be chasing zeros. And they're a team that's playing together regularly against a team they just put together 2 days ago.
Always look at all these small things which people don't normally notice. Before the kickoff, when they were walking into the field, Did you see Makesi players, the old players there? Looking down, you could tell something was wrong. I want to be honest with you. You could tell something was wrong. You look at all these youngsters in the All-Star team that were like, you know,
they were happy.
They were happy. They were going to play. That's what normally happens between the two teams. We normally compete in the tunnel before we get into the field.
Yeah.
The singing, how I wanna look at Shane. I'm going to score for Pirates. Shane, I'm gonna score for it happens before. But with Makesi, I saw something different. And what happened on live on TV after the game? Then I was like, oh.
Let's talk about this new trend. There's a new trend that is coming up in South Africa where Shane realized after the game that, you know what, my performance was dismal. And Shane rocks up and goes like, you know what, I'm done. Is this a trend we should be looking at now going forward, or is it one of those where it was preempted? The coach came there knowing that if I don't get a result here today, it's all over. Because there's money at stake. I mean, if you look at it, the winners get 2 million. The runners-up gets 1 million. And there's also, when a goal is scored, it gets shared. So there's a lot of money that goes into it. And it goes into the pocket of a team that needs the money because you want to try and survive and salvage something in the Premier Division.
Personally, Brian, I think he knew even before the game, whether win or lose, I think he knew before that he was going to do that, it's time for him to go. I think Clinton's a very good coach. I think he's very sharp, he's very clever, and this is just my personal point of view. I think he's taken them as far as he can, and he's realized that it's not going to go any further. Time to jump, get off the ship. And that's the way I feel. If you look at the way Magezi play, it's all push, run, physical, running a lot, putting players under pressure. It's running. You can only do that for a certain amount of time with a squad that's not a huge squad. And you've got a certain amount of players. You can only do that for a certain amount of time. Their legs are going to go. You're going to get tired. Players are going to be thinking now, oh, we won the Carling Black Label Cup. We've made it. Now all of a sudden we've gone from being just another team to title winners, and now all of a sudden we're better than what we are. And then the players stop putting the effort in. All these little things catch up. And I think Clinton, being the wise man he is, has realized that and saying, okay, I've gone as far as I can. They're not going to bring players in. They're not going to spend money. Time for me to move on. What a way to do it. Live TV. Sell yourself. Boom. Done.
Let's take it back, Mjerera. I mean, you've always reveled and spoken about Wonderboy Makubu as a player. And I think a striker is only as good as who supplies him. You know, Makubu, I've watched him in matches. He will drop deep to try and fight for the ball, and have to come back and still be in a position trying to and receive the ball to lay it off to the players that eventually score. Doesn't score a lot of goals because he becomes the busy guy around everything else. As a coach, how do you therefore manage a squad like that? Number one, you know you don't have the same pool as a Sundowns or a Pirates. You have these players and their legs are going to run off. What do you do then? Because you can't bring any other person into the squad, given what you have.
I think maybe to touch on that, the coach did talk about what he was doing in the team in terms of the players. He did hint it on TV, live on TV, to say, well, for me to resign, it will be bad to some of the players, but good to others. That I was trying to push to make sure that they work hard, they have to bring everything, it will be good for them. But maybe overall, I don't think this was happening. Maybe it just happened when they started immediately after the Carling Cup, after defeating Sundowns. They started losing all the games. I think that's why it started, because even the team that came in the All-Stars, you could tell they knew already. I promise you. Players, the way they played, it was a totally different Magesi. Even like the top man, Chipezeze himself. He wasn't himself.
Oh, Chipezeze conceding 3 goals in that match.
He was not himself. Really, everybody knew this was coming.
I tell you one thing.
Because the conduct could tell the way they played that even the coach was.
You know one thing for sure, Mjerera, which was nice. You legends are not there at the press conference. So I don't think you guys will be very happy.
No, you can let us know, media person.
You know, we were sitting in a press conference, and Jackie Dwaba comes in after the game to address the media. And all the media said, no, we want the coach. You're not the coach, so we want the coach. If the coach is not going to come, if the coach can resign on national TV, he must come and address us, because before the game, he was talking to us. So post the game, he decided to resign on national TV. He must come and resign in front of us as well. Yeah, so that's what happened at Orlando Stadium after the match.
But is it something which supposed to, I mean, he has resigned.
No, but I'm saying, you see, there's a pre and post. Coach has to honor both.
Yeah.
You know, that's the rule.
But he's no longer there.
But then the argument was, but he already resigned, so he's no longer the coach of the team. So it was a bit of a spat in a press conference, and I thought to myself, if only legends were here. We'll come back with some more of the stuff here. That's all the conversation here for you. Now, what a year it was. We'll talk to you next year when we talk about 2025. What can we expect? That's Conversation with Brian on the Fut-Afrique channel.
I saw a cherry and it was red.